One quiet morning, I'm on my way to attend my first Catholic Mass in Thailand. I'm walking across the campus of Roomrudi International School. I'm admiring the tropical vegetation, especially the flowers, the beautiful birds of paradise. It's peaceful, the air is still and humid. And the only sounds are the birds, the insects, and the sometimes mysterious rustle from the jungle. Then I see it. Off to the side of the church, a large concrete spirit house, the kind Thai people use to shelter local guardian spirits. But this one, not incense for Buddha or offerings for the Thai spirits. No, this one has the Virgin Mary. I stop in my tracks. My Western, still somewhat Catholic brain is buffering, and then finally all I get is, wait, what? Apparently, Mary has found a new home right here in my Thai neighborhood on the campus of Roomrudi International School, where my wife, Michaela, and I taught high school and our kids went to elementary school. Welcome to the wild world of syncretism, that beautiful, bizarre, and often wildly convenient process where one religion borrows, blends, or just plain absorbs parts of another. Today, I want to look at how religions, starting with Catholicism, have turned cultural fusion into a spiritual art form. Let's start with the holly jolliest example, Christmas. You've heard the line, Jesus is the reason for the season, but, well, not exactly. Long before there was a manger in Bethlehem, the Norse were tying evergreen boughs into wreaths, hanging mistletoe, a plant sacred to druids and soaked in fertility lore. The tree itself was spiritual, an evergreen image of life amid death, a sacred reminder that nature would rebound. They called it Yule, from which we get Yuletide cheer, Yuletide carols, and of course, the Yule log channel on Netflix. These traditions didn't vanish, they got absorbed. Later, Christian Germans gave us the Christmas tree as we know it, decorating entire firs indoors. But the roots, pure Norse, they wrapped their winters in green long before anyone decked the halls. The Norse celebrated the winter solstice like it was the Super Bowl of the gods. The solstice marked the shortest day of the year, after which the sun begins its return. And if you lived in the Arctic tundra of Northern Europe, you didn't just welcome the sun back. You threw a party, burned a giant log, sacrificed a few animals, maybe got tipsy on fermented something, and celebrated that you hadn't frozen to death. At least, not yet, anyway. Let's talk about Santa. Sure, there's a St. Nicholas, the kindly Christian bishop of Myra, famous for saving poor girls from slavery and secretly leaving coins in shoes. Noble, but not flying with reindeer, right? Contrast that with Odin, the Norse god of wisdom, war, and apparently gift-giving. A bearded old man in a fur-trimmed cloak flying through the sky on an eight-legged horse, delivering treats and gifts to those below with the help of his all-seeing spirit crew. Sound more familiar? I'm not saying Santa is Odin, but if they walked into a bar, you'd have a hard time telling them apart. In the 12 days of Christmas, the Norse celebrated the 12 days of Yule. In fact, much of what we think of as classic Christmas, from the coziness to the evergreens to the midwinter celebration itself, was thriving in the North long before the first nativity scene. Christianity didn't erase those rituals, it just gave them new costumes. Now, what about Jesus' birthday? Brace yourself. We don't know when Jesus was born. No one does. The Bible doesn't give a date, and the clues it does offer make December 25th a bit suspect. In the nativity story, shepherds are watching their flocks by night, but in the cold Judean winter, sheep were typically indoors. Also, a census was supposedly taking place, ordered by Caesar Augustus. But winter isn't exactly census-conducting weather. Even the Roman records don't confirm one at that time. And to top it off, the Gospel of Luke names the wrong governor, Quirinius, who didn't even hold office until a full decade after King Herod had died. So, slight historical hiccup? So, why did we land on December 25th? Because it was already taken. The Romans were busy celebrating Saturnalia, a wild week-long festival of gift-giving, role reversals, drinking, and public revelry honoring Saturn, the god of time and liberation. And on, you guessed it, December 25th, they celebrated the Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun. So when Christianity went from fringe cult to empire-backed religion, church leaders saw a golden opportunity. Don't cancel the pagan parties, Christianize them. Slap a new label on the same date, retrofit Jesus into the narrative, and boom, Christ Mass, Christmas. Efficient, adaptable, low resistance conversion. Fast forward 2,000 years, and Christmas is everywhere. From Bethlehem to Bangkok, from snow globe suburbia to sand dunes. I've got photos of my kids with Santas of every race and accent, white, black, brown, Cypriot, Egyptian, even one suspiciously tanned Santa in India with a Bollywood flair. And here's the kicker, some of the most iconic Christmas songs written by Jewish composers. White Christmas, Let It Snow, Silver Bells, Rudolph, A Holly Jolly Christmas. Even the Christmas song, yes, chestnuts roasting on an open fire, written by Jewish composers. None of these songs mention Jesus. All of them still hit like theological eggnog. I'm not here to cancel Christmas. Far from it. It's joyful, it's beautiful, it's a collective shimmering pause in the year when humanity kind of gets excited, gets wildly generous and introspective and nostalgic, and it's the most wonderful time of the year. But let's call it what it is. A glorious, globe-spanning remix of pagan roots, Christian symbols, capitalist fervor, and sentimental songs written by people who didn't even celebrate the holiday. The early church absorbed, repackaged, and rebranded with legendary skill. Was it compromise, strategy, spiritual genius? Maybe all three. But here's the real miracle. Somehow, this Franken festival still warms hearts, inspires kindness, and, at least for a few days, makes us all believe in something a little bigger than ourselves. And honestly, that's worth singing about. And that's just Christmas. And while Christmas may be the most famous and vigorously celebrated holiday of the year, it doesn't end there. Easter. Ever wonder what bunnies and eggs have to do with the resurrection of the Son of God? The answer? Nothing. The name Easter likely comes from Oestra, an Anglo-Saxon fertility goddess. Both rabbits and eggs are clear symbols of fertility. Springtime, renewal, birth, it's all very symbolic, just not very Christian. Then there's All Souls Day, which blends early Christian doctrine with the indigenous Day of the Dead in places like Mexico. Skulls, candles, marigolds, and a whole lot of Catholic branding slapped on top. And it doesn't stop there. The Virgin of Guadalupe, a Christian rebrand of Tonantzin, an Aztec mother goddess. Same sacred hill, same motherly energy, just with a new name and a halo. In the Philippines, the Santo Niño, an image of Christ as a child, is dressed in traditional Filipino clothing and treated like a mini king. He's not just adored, he's adopted into the local spiritual family. Brazilian candomblé merges African Orisha with Catholic saints, a creative survival strategy under colonial oppression. Enslaved people worship their deities in plain sight, disguised as church-approved devotion. In Ireland, St. Bridget is widely seen as a Christianized version of the Celtic goddess Bridget, ruler of fertility, poetry, and healing. Her feast day? Right on top of Imbolc, a pagan spring festival. Yet another coincidence? And in Cuba, Santeria blends Yoruba Orishas with Catholic saints born out of forced conversion during slavery. Take Oshun, goddess of love and rivers. She became Our Lady of Charity, Cuba's patron saint. Today, the tradition thrives from Havana to Miami, often practiced beside a Bible and maybe a chicken.
Catholicism, or Christianity in general, doesn't have a monopoly on this. Every major world religion has absorbed, adapted, and outright stolen from its surrounding cultures. Let's take a little tour.
As Islam spread into West Africa, local traditions stayed put. In places like Senegal, people visit marabout shrines for Islamic blessings, then turn to ancestral spirits for extra backup. Allah and the ancestors coexist. No drama. During the Babylonian exile, Jewish thought picked up ideas from Zoroastrianism. Angels, demons, Judgment Day. Before exile, the Hebrew Bible barely mentioned the afterlife. After, heaven and hell moved in for good. Across India, tribal deities were woven into the Hindu fold, often recast as versions of Shiva, Vishnu, or Devi. Durga, now a national warrior goddess, began as a fierce local protector in eastern India. These days she gets full-blown parades, drums, and 10 arms of hype. Not bad for a rural goddess who started small. In China, Buddhism didn't replace ancestor worship, it embraced it. Zen Buddhism teaches detachment and mindfulness while burning incense to grandma. Born in 15th century Punjab, Sikhism blends Hindu and Muslim ideas. Its scripture quotes both, uses Islamic names for God, and draws on Hindu imagery, a bridge built in the middle of a religious storm. When Buddhism came to Japan, Shinto didn't disappear, it teamed up. To this day, many Japanese have Shinto weddings and Buddhist funerals. One family, two traditions, no conflict. Joseph Smith's vision wasn't born in a vacuum. Mormonism mixes folk magic, Freemasonry, Christian revivalism, and American frontier myth. Think seer stones, temple rituals, and a prophet in a prairie hat. Religious boundaries can be surprisingly porous, but sometimes it's not the belief that travels, it's the ritual, the symbol. And few traditions show that better than henna. In North Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia, henna isn't just body art, it's religious remix culture. Muslims use it for Eid, Jews for weddings, Hindus for festivals, same plant, different prayers. In Morocco, Berber symbols of protection show up in henna worn to Islamic weddings. In India, brides wear designs that predate Islam, get blessed by Hindu priests, and dance to Bollywood beats. One paste. Centuries of syncretism.
So here's the thing. Faith isn't the problem. Faith in something greater, in meaning, mystery, or connection, it's essential. But faith as a packaged product sold by human-made religion, that's where it starts to feel off, sometimes even a little bit hollow. Religions have always evolved to survive, adapting to new cultures or new rulers, but for some reason not to science. What's surprising is how many still cling to the outer layers, rituals, relics, origin stories, without asking whether they still hold up in the 21st century. Some of those beliefs may have made sense centuries ago, but today, holding on to the unbelievable isn't faith, it's fear of letting go. Faith isn't about believing in things that are impossible, especially when they've been woven together over time with outside traditions, all in an attempt to make them seem more attractive. It's about what you hold on to when certainty falls apart. It's about finding meaning that still resonates long after church is over or the holiday lights have gone out. So if you've ever looked at your childhood religion, squinted, and thought, wait, is this all really just a mix of myths, old stories, borrowed beliefs, and some modern interpretations? You're not alone. You're probably right. And that realization doesn't have to kill your faith. It might just be the beginning of a more honest one. Thank you.